Hey friends, I'm Jennifer and this is episode 3 of the Real Knitting Podcast. And I believe that everybody is creative, and that's why I'm here on YouTube, and that's why I'm trying to get the world to knit. Today it's April 13th, it's Thursday. You'll probably see this on Friday. This is 2022. Let's jump right into the knitting content, and then I've got a few other things to talk about. We will start with my current works in progress. So the first one I want to show you is, it's all on the table here, is the Portage by Lindsaya Shawl. Forgive me, Melissa. And I'm doing this one in Holskarn Super Soft. So Holskarn, I'll give a little background about this. Holskarn Super Soft is, okay, there's my giant cone. It's as big as my head. Oh my goodness. Holskarn is, it's really thin, and it comes with all the spinning oils still in it. So this is a lot of yarn. I ordered this cone a couple of years ago on Christmas. They had a sale. I'll try to link that down below. But I think I got this including shipping for like $50. That's a lot of sweaters. So anyway, there's the Holskarn, and I am knitting it on my KnitPicks rainbow just because they're kind of happy, and that's what I started on. I've been working on this off and on for quite a while because texture is slow for me, but check it out. Gorgeous texture. Now, it looks like it's almost going to be see-through. Let me pull it back a little bit. So you can kind of tell that it's not as holy as it looks when I bring it up closer to the camera. But it's not going to be see-through. It actually is going to bloom. It's going to bloom out beautifully when I block it. It's going to get softer. Right now, I don't know if I can even get you to kind of understand, but it's almost crunchy. It's almost a crunchy, very rustic yarn. And there are sections of stockinette, but it's this gorgeous texture that really makes Portage. That and the really cool pockets that go around. So I've actually made another Portage, but I kind of cheated. I didn't have the bandwidth to do all this texture because seriously, I love it, but it slows me down and it does require a little bit of brain work. So I'm wearing my first Portage. Oh, I also have it in my little happy knitting bowl. Okay. So I'm actually wearing the first Portage that I made. Stand up so you can see it. And it's got this shawl collar that folds over and comes around, and these great big pockets. Now, hello, everybody loves a big pocket. But you can see on the back, I didn't do any texture on this. What that did was, it actually made the back wider. Even though I got a good stockinette gauge, I didn't do the texture. So I didn't know what the gauge of the back texture was going to be. So I just kind of went with the same stitch count. And it made this thing really wide and oversized. Now, I'm not complaining. This thing is so cozy. I did it in Mirasol Acapana in the 1306, the red colorway. I will link that below. But it's got a lot of alpaca in it, and so it's kind of heavy, kind of drapey. It's a wonderful snug it up kind of a thing. You can see the little tweeds in there, all the different colors of the tweedy texture. I love the blues in there especially. It's a beautiful yarn, but I'm afraid to block it because it's already big and drapey and it's kind of long on me. And I just don't want it to get out of control with all that alpaca. So I loved this one. I love the pockets. I loved her design of how it sort of comes around and attaches at the side seams. That's awesome. But it is kind of too drapey. So I'm definitely excited about doing a Portage, and I'm doing it right this time. I'm doing it the way she wrote it. So hopefully this one will fit beautifully. And as you saw, I definitely have enough yarn. Yay. Never had another cone of yarn. That may become a thing. So that's the one that's really taking a lot of my energy. I also have a new design in the works that I showed you, I guess I showed you like a couple of times ago. So don't get freaked out by all the things hanging off of this, because I am attempting to circulars to finish this hat. This is something that they do, the ladies at Yarntiques do all the time. They do 2 circulars. I've always done DPNs. I'm trying it. We'll see how it goes. I'm using the KnitPicks, the square KnitPicks. There we go. The square KnitPicks in the Majestic, I think, colorway. So this little hat, this is going to be for my little boy. I think it's going to be for the littlest, but since I didn't do a gauge swatch, we will find out which kid it will be for. It'll fit somebody. The texture on this, so we have a basic 2x2 rib and some stockinette because I love to rest in between. Then we have a little texture going on here, and I finally figured out what I wanted to do with the crown. So I've started the crown decreases. Yeah. And these crown decreases are in pattern, sort of, so they are going to be cable-y crown decreases. It's kind of hard to show you. It just kind of looks like a big hole, but it won't be when I get all the cabling done. And it's already on the decreases because it is a child's hat. This yarn I showed before. Here we go. Yeah, I'm into the tweed. This is a fingering weight sock yarn. It's got some nylon in it, and it was dyed by Kay at Bede Sisters Yarn. And Kay has an Etsy shop, but I just checked, and her Etsy shop is on hold, so I don't know if she's still dyeing right now. But I bet she will. And she's got she has a podcast. I'm going to link to her podcast, but I actually bought this. This is called the Does This Go With Avocado colorway. And I actually bought this at SAF, which is Southeastern Animal Fiber Fair. It happens in Asheville, which really isn't too far from me, Asheville, North Carolina. And it's a pretty good little show, and we love going there. And I met her years ago there, and that's when I learned about knitting podcasts. So thank you, Kay. Thanks for turning me on to knitting podcasts. So there's that little hat. This is my own design, so it should be out. No promises. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. That's all I have to say. It will eventually be out. The next thing that we need to talk about, I guess, is my knitting classes. So knitting classes are going so well. I don't know if I told you, I have so much experience teaching adults, but I've never taught knitting before. So this is kind of a new thing for me, and it's going great. I have, 5 students, 6 students. 2 of those are guys. We're having a great time. So we had our 3rd class out of 4, and I started them on their little mitts that I showed in our first podcast, but I ran into kind of a problem, and this is entirely my fault. This is design work. This is what happens when you're a designer, and I'm a baby designer. I'm still learning. I've got a few things out, but you know, still learning. I almost never use acrylic yarn. It doesn't feel good to me. It's just not my favorite. But this is the Barocco Comfort. This is what we had as our class yarn. So, okay, we'll make stuff with it. I wanted to make a scarf, and I wrote a super simple pattern. I called it the basic window pane scarf because it's just sort of open in the middle, stockinette. So we started with garter, moved on to stockinette with a little garter border. But I think in my mind, I was kind of designing for wool because this curled. I'll show you. You can see it curled into almost a total tube. Yeah, there. It just curls completely on itself. And of course I'm like, oh, that'll block out. Oh, the lies we tell ourselves. So I blocked it, and I blocked this aggressively. But I did not take into, I didn't think about it being acrylic, and acrylic is not going to block like your wool is going to block. And so even after aggressive blocking, this is what I ended up with. I still used it to show my class. I'm not going to reknit this anytime soon because I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it at all. And so I rewrote the pattern to make the side portions wider. Instead of 3 stitches, I think I made up 8 stitches, and that really helps it to lay flatter. I saw several of my students, theirs was laying flatter, so I was really happy about that. But just a note, remember, acrylic won't block out everything like wool will. So that's the beginner's class. The beginner's class has one more time, and then we're gonna load up a new series of 4 beginner classes, and then we're gonna start adding to those classes. So I think the next one is gonna be like my first hat class. So there's that. What else am I doing? Screwed up scarf. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you. Okay, so my beginner's class. Remember I said I have a couple of guys in there. Well, one of the guys is really struggling to remember what to do next. And so I meant to bring this up with them anyway. I brought up, instead of the little, it's a little song like, round through the back and off jumps Jack when you're knitting, to try to remember. I can't ever remember that one. But what I can remember is stab it, choke it, drag it out back, and throw it off the cliff. So a little dark humor, and that really helped him to get it, and the whole class had a big giggle about that. So if you are a beginning knitter and you're struggling to keep up with what to do next, remember you're going to stab it, choke it, drag it out back, and throw it off the cliff. Okay. Back to a little more seriousness. So this week, tomorrow, is the launch of the Lindsaya Shawl. And yes, it is pronounced Lindola because it's my mother-in-law's name, and that's how her mom pronounced it. So the Lindsaya Shawl, I showed on here before, is an asymmetrical crescent shawl with very basic lace details in there. It's really simple. It is perfect for hanging out with your friends and talking to them while you knit, because it's fairly simple. I'm gonna stand up. There we go. So there is the whole Lindsaya shawl. And the thing that makes this cool is that ruffle. Can you see how the ruffle lays? Even with me just holding it here, the ruffle causes these really pretty edges. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it around. Let you see it being worn. Yeah. So when it drapes like this, it sort of spirals on the ends. Yeah. There's the pretty ends, and they just hang. And I'll turn it around and show it the other way too. I often wear mine around backwards like this. Keeps my neck and chest warmer. And then you still have those pretty ends rolling right there. the Lindola, I knit this in Ginger Snap, and I have dust fingering in Roller Disco. Here's her ball band, Ginger Snap, and I have linked her below in her Etsy shop below. And this one is called Roller Disco. I think I said Roller Derby before, but it's Roller Disco. And then the other colorway name, that's the variegated. And then the matching, this one's got a lot of mohair. It's also a fingering weight, but it's mohairy. I don't know if you can see the little halo on that one is gorgeous. Yeah, but the colorway of this one is called Enjoy. Let me get all unwound here so I can talk some more because it's a little warm. The Lindola will be live on Ravelry, on my website, mountainlegacydesigns.com. You can also get there through realknitting.com. I'm still kind of working out what I want to do with realknitting.com and see where that goes. It will be there, and it will also be on my Etsy shop. And it goes live tomorrow, which should be Friday, which should be the day that you guys see this when I upload. A couple of other things. I have set up a few new videos. I put up, I think you already knew that I put up a knitting one and a long tail cast on little video. I also popped up a purling video, and I've got a couple of others that will be coming out soon. These are just really simple little tutorials. I go in the basement, I get my lights set up, and I show you some basic knitting stitches. These are just following along with what my beginning knitting class needs. But if you have one that you want me to do a little tutorial for, if you've got a stitch or a cast on or a bind off or anything in between that you want me to do a little tutorial for, please let me know, because I'm really having fun with those. I like setting those up and giving them to you. The next thing I need to talk to you about is, oh my goodness, thank you. Thank you. So last time I podcast, this was my second time podcasting. I think right after that I had 13 subscribers, and thank you to my 13 original friends. I love you. Those 13 people they got me started, so I really appreciate that. But what I realized was that in order to secure the name Real Knitting on YouTube, I had to have 100 subscribers, and my channel had to be live for 30 days. The knitting.com guys have picked up realknitting.com and Real Knitting and a couple of other things on other channels, on other platforms, Instagram, TikTok, and that sort of thing. And so I wanted to make sure that I got Real Knitting on YouTube because, you know, I have realknitting.com. If you are late joining us, I promise you, I bought realknitting.com for $13.50. And there was somebody on Ravelry today saying that was absurd. And girl, I hear you. It is absurd. I still can't believe I got realknitting.com for $13.50. But that kind of makes you wonder why the e-com guys paid what they... Anyway. Okay. Anyway, so I knew I had to get 100 subscribers. And I'm looking and I'm like, yes! 13 subscribers! Woo! And then I kind of got to doing a little math and how many podcasts that it would take for me to get there just to be able to secure the name Real Knitting on YouTube. So I went to one of the forums on Ravelry and just said, hey, you guys, I don't want to spam you, but this is what's going on. I'd really like to get Real Knitting on YouTube before anybody else snatches it up. If you're so inclined, could you go... subscribe and help me get closer to my 100. And I was texting back and forth with a friend, Melissa, and you're gonna meet her at some point. She's definitely gonna be on the podcast. But texting with Melissa, and she's like, "Why don't you put a post on Facebook and say the same thing to people who are our Facebook friends? Like, some of us are knitters, and we all know somebody that knits. So why don't you just throw that out there?" So I did. By the time I woke up the next morning, this was like 10 o'clock at night, which, by the way, I'm usually asleep by 9 at the latest. 10 o'clock at night, posted in this one forum on Ravelry, posted just on my personal Facebook page, "Hey knitters, I need your help. This is what I'm trying to do." By the next morning, I had 89 subscribers. Oh my goodness. It was so sweet, you guys. And I had comments. This really touched my heart. I had comments from people on my personal Facebook page who don't even knit. And they were like, "Done. Helped you out." That makes me happy because they just did it because they're nice. Just because they love me. And yeah, I know those of you who are big YouTube people who don't watch your stuff don't really count toward much of anything for YouTube, but they count toward my heart. Let me tell you, that was really precious. So as of today, so I thought, okay, I'll get to 100. People will notice we're at 100, and then that'll be it, right? No. As of today, I have 220 subscribers. I don't think I know 220 people. Maybe I do. I don't know. But I just want to say a great big thank you to all of you who subscribed, all of you who've made it to this point in the video of me rambling about nothing. And I want to do a big giveaway. So what I really want to do, I want to get to 500 subscribers. That's like, to me, that's big time. I felt like I blew up on YouTube when I got to 100. But if we can get to 500 subscribers, I'm going to do a big giveaway. Now, what I'm thinking is you've got 2 weeks until I podcast again. If I get to 300 subscribers, I'll do a little giveaway. If I get to 400 subscribers, I'll do kind of a medium-sized giveaway. If I get to 500, 2 weeks from today, big giveaway. Now, I don't know what that will be. I want to say it'll be like maybe some local soaps. I don't know, Dr. Enough and a moon pie. But it will definitely include some yarn and some notions, and I don't know. We'll just see. We'll see what I can come up with. So, you got 2 weeks. Please share this with your knitting friends and make me get a big old giveaway going. I would love that. Oh, I know what it was. I'm going to put this before the thank you all for watching. So I'm a yoga teacher. I'm actually a certified yoga therapist, RYT 500. It doesn't matter. But anyway, I'm a yoga teacher. So each podcast, I want to share with you something from yoga that will make your knitting life a little easier. So let's do a quick one. The first one that I want to show you is all about opening the chest. I had a client today who he was kind of having some breathing issues, and the doctors said, you know, dude, your lungs are good. So what we're doing is we're working on what we call in yoga opening the heart. So we're creating a little bit of space through the shoulders. So as we're knitting, I'll turn sideways. As we're knitting, because we're usually looking down, sometimes we're even holding in our laps, we're talking, whatever, we all forget to take care of our posture. So you will look around, if you look around your group of knitters, you will see a lot of us ending up sitting like this. Wow. That's painful. It leads to a lot of neck pain. So the first little yoga tip that I want to give you is just to think about lifting your chest, lifting your heart. So I'm not even worried about squeezing my shoulders back, lifting my abs, any of that kind of stuff just yet. The first thing while you're knitting, lift your heart up toward the sky. As you notice that your chest is sort of sinking down, slumping in, draw it right back up. And that's going to make a change in your posture really quickly. I think you'll see results pretty quick. Let me know in the comments, do you slouch when you knit? Curious. You can find me on all the social media listed below. I'd love to see you there. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you don't mind, comment below and tell me what I can do better. Tell me, I don't know, tell me anything you want to tell me, because I'd love to hear from you. I respond to every comment myself. And then check out some of the new videos. I will pop a playlist in there. I'm not sure, I'm still learning all this. But I will pop the playlist in and a link to subscribe. And if you're totally confused about the knitting.com stuff, go research it or check out my first podcast because I talked about that. Thank you all for watching.